Alright, we're back to WCW Monday, March 6th, 2000. We're starting off with Booker T, the world champion, cutting a promo, and out comes Hulk Hogan. They're exchanging words back and forth, and we get an interruption. It's Jeff Jarrett and Lex Luger. Jarrett also wants the world title, and Luger wouldn't be opposed to having it either. Jarrett and Luger are teaming. They're a team. They work together. And how about this? How about a tag team match tonight? Booker and Hogan versus Jarrett and Luger. And Hogan's game and Booker's game. So, Booker and Hogan versus Jarrett and Luger. Anyone? We're opening up with a tag match. Sabu and Christopher Daniels work together to defeat the team of Vampiro and Alex Wright. Daniels is feuding with Wright. Vampiro is feuding with Sabu. Those matches are happening on pay-per-view next Sunday. Afterwards, we get a bit of a brawl between both teams. Get Jeremy Borash backstage interviewing the Road Warriors. They're facing off against the Harris Twins next week. This gets a 40. Sting versus Kiwi. Sting makes defense number 2 of the U.S. title. Kiwi pulls a 23, but this was all a showcase match for Sting. That's all it was. And trying to get Kiwi some experience as well, but he can't get it done against the icon of WCW. And out comes Chris Champagne Canyon. He beats down Sting and holds up the United States Championship. Backstage with Billy Kidman, he cuts a promo on Rey Mysterio. Not much to say, just talking about how Rey is a bum. 28. Team Canada cuts a backstage promo on the Second City Saints, and they also bring up Buff Bagwell being fired from WCW because he has been released with the company. He was upset. I knew it was coming for a while. I was hoping I could at least get to Uncensored, but Bagwell demanded his release. I granted it, and Bagwell's gone. We're hemorrhaging money. We need to get rid of some of the bigger contract stars that aren't really pulling numbers or I don't really have plans with, and Buff Bagwell is one of those guys. So Bagwell is gone, but Team Canada's not done with the Second City Saints, and they want a 3-on-3 match on pay-per-view, so 36. Perfect Roads versus Candido and Bigelow. From the Triple Threat, it is a cage match, and the Perfect Roads get the win. So we are now tied up 2-2, one match remaining. The winner of that final match will become the number 1 contenders to the World Tag Team Championships, and this gets a 65. We're backstage. Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner, they're talking about being the World Tag Team Champions. Not only that, they're talking about Diamond Dallas Page and Randy, the Macho Man Savage. And Scott Steiner will go one-on-one with Randy Savage in our main event next week. Scott Steiner's back. He's cleared for action. He could have wrestled tonight, but he wasn't supposed to, so it's not in the story yet. We get our main event. Hogan and Booker take on Jarrett and Luger, and they get the win. Hogan pins Jarrett with the leg drop. I probably should have said it, so he pins Luger. But regardless, this was decent. It gets a 67. It gets the job done. I didn't set it, but in the match, the Harris Twins come out. They try to interfere, and the Road Warriors come out and even the numbers. So that's important, but whatever. It's not a big deal. Road Warriors versus Twins are happening next week anyway. It's just for more emphasis for the Luger and Jarrett versus the Road Warriors thing. So that was the first episode of Nitro. I'm going to go right ahead to the next one because we also have Uncensored this episode, so trying to keep the episode concise. So we'll be right back with our next week's Nitro. Let's get into it. March 13th. I don't know why I have 17th marked down. March 13th, Nitro. We're starting off with Hogan cutting a promo and Booker T comes out. They're exchanging words back and forth. And Hogan finishes off the promo by saying, "Booker, I respect you. But that championship," and then he points at it, "is coming home with me." And then he leaves. That's it. Booker versus Hogan is your main event for Uncensored. And it gets a 92. Road Warriors versus the Harris Twins. And the Road Warriors get the win in their return match with the Doomsday Device. Gets 60. And the Twins are actually pulling 46 and 47. It's alright, but they're still going to get released. I'm at a point where I have to cut roster. I have to cut some wrestlers on the roster. I'm probably going to cut the show. I'm probably going to cut Nitro down to 90 minutes instead of 120, just because I have to cut the roster because we're hemorrhaging money. And some of these guys are going to have to go. And the Twins, they're pretty high up on the list. The Road Warriors are probably going to stay for a little bit, but the Harris brothers are not. We get a Team Canada backstage promo, and they're slowly getting better. And they're talking about the 3-on-3 tag match, of course, this Sunday against the Second City Saints. And this gets a 41. Billy Kidman cuts a promo, and Rey Mysterio makes his return, and they have a little bit of a brawl. Kidman versus Mysterio is happening at Uncensored. This gets a 39. Sabu and Vampiro are seen brawling backstage, and Tony Schiavone, who's on commentary, mentions how this Sunday Sabu faces Vampiro in a tables match. So this gets a 60. Christopher Daniels versus Kaz Hayashi's up next. Daniels gets the win, retains the Cruiserweight Championship, and then afterwards we get a beatdown from Alex Wright. Backstage with Jeremy Borash, he interviews the United States Champion Sting. He faces Chris Kanyon this Sunday on pay-per-view, defending the United States Championship, and this gets an 82. Juventud Guerrera gets a win over Mike Rotunda in 801 by pinfall with a 450 splash. This gets a 56. Triple Threat cut a promo, Shane Douglas, Candido, and Bam Bam Bigelow, and out comes Kurt Hennig and Dustin Rhodes. The fifth match of their Best of 5 series is happening this Sunday. The winner receives a World Tag Team Championship opportunity at either Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner or Randy Savage and Diamond Dallas Page. That's your tag team title match this Sunday. Jeff Jarrett and Lex Luger cut a promo real quick talking about the Road Warriors, and they want to face them this Sunday. So 73. Your main event, Scott Steiner gets the win over Randy Savage in 12:31. Steiner pulls out a big win over the Macho Man, and then afterwards we get a beatdown. Nash and Steiner beat down Savage, and DDP comes out to make the save. This is where DDP and Savage officially shake hands. They're on the same page. We're seeing the tag title the tag title match on pay-per-view. 78, our best Nitro so far, and it was, I think it deserves it. It had a lot of good going for it. It's a great go-home show for Uncensored. I'm pretty proud of that one, but we're not done with the episode just yet. We've still got Hogan versus Booker to book on pay-per-view, and you might think this is going to be a problem. There's no way Hogan is putting over Booker T. And in normal situations, you'd be right. I talked to Hogan, and because you can talk to them in this game, and I asked them, would you be willing to put over Booker T? Or I'm putting Booker T over on you. That's what I said. And Hogan said, I'd be very angry about that. And Mike Tenay's gone, by the way. I like Mike Tenay, but he's not gelling well with Bobby, and he is the least offensive member on commentary. He has the less skills, so I just figured I'd just get rid of him. Yeah, usually Hogan would be against losing to Booker T. However, I talked to Hogan, and I asked him, I'd like you to consider putting over Booker T. And he said sure. So Hogan's putting over Booker T. That's great. I know I just spoiled the main event, but that's the only way I would have had. I had to show you, or else you wouldn't have believed me that Hogan would have put over Booker T. So I'll be right back with Uncensored in just one moment. Alright, we're here, March 19th. Uncensored in front of 10,000 people. We're starting off with commentary. Opening the show. First match on the card, the Perfect Roads get the win over Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Candido, which means the Perfect Roads, Dustin and Kurt, are the new number 1 contenders to the World Tag Team Championships. Gets a 66. Hennig a 71, Dustin with a 60. They're actually pulling good numbers. Shit, I might have to put the belts on them. 66. The 3-on-3 gets 55. Damn. Did not expect that. Lance carried this match, I know that. Storm carrying Eric Young, Robert Roode, and the Second City Saints to a decent match, actually. Punk and Young pulling 34. Not too bad. Creative finish helped, though. I know that. Storm got the win, though. The TV champion, showing why he is the TV champion. Billy Kidman versus Rey Mysterio. Kidman gets the win, cheating, holding the ropes for leverage over Rey Mysterio. Gets him with a quick cradle, holds the ropes, and Kidman beats his former partner. This story's not over. Alex Wright and Daniels put on a pretty good match. Cruiserweight action right here. Christopher Daniels gets the win over Alex Wright, however, and makes defense number 2 of the Cruiserweight Championship. So not too bad. I'm happy with it so far. Next up, Road Warriors versus Jeff Jarrett and Lex Luger. And Jarrett and Luger get the win after Billy Kidman ran in and attacked Animal and Hawk. After the match, Kidman helps Jarrett to his feet as Luger was on the outside, like dazed and didn't know what's going on, and he gets in the ring and Kidman shakes Jarrett's hand, he shakes Luger's hand, and they all raise their hands together, kind of like the NWO did when they formed. But let's be honest, this is not the New World Order caliber, but we got a new stable in WCW, Kidman, Jarrett, and Luger. And it got a 62. Sabu versus Vampiro in a tables match is up next, and Sabu cannot get the job done. Vampiro somehow defeats Sabu, hits him with the nail in the coffin through the table, and Sabu took a stunt bump. He gets a 56, which is decent. We'll take that. Vampiro gets a big win. I don't know what's next for him. I do know what's next for him. There's a reason why he got this win, and it may or may not have to do with the outcome of this match. Sting gets the win right here and retains the United States Championship. Kanyon goes down. Interference from Kwee and Scotty could not get the job done. Sting is still your U.S. champion. And that match rating for 45 for Kanyon is really low. Kanyon is not a 45 in-ring performer. He's a 60 to a 70 easily in 2000. Easily. Kanyon is very, very good, very, very underrated as a professional wrestler, in my opinion. We're not done. We still got 2 more matches on the card. Tag team titles are up next. Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner get the job done. They retain the tag team championships after pinning Randy Savage with the jackknife powerbomb. But it's what happens after the match that's important. Savage, he's getting up slowly from the powerbomb. DDP's on the outside. And then somebody climbs the guardrails, gets in the ring, hits Randy Savage with a powerbomb, and then DDP comes in. DDP tries to fight him, but then he gets picked up, also gets hit with a powerbomb. Mike Awesome is officially in WCW. His ECW contract came up. We signed him to a 2-year deal, written deal. He's one of the reasons why I need to cut wrestlers on the roster, and that's exactly why he's here, is to help cut some talent, because he is the career killer, Mike Awesome. We're not doing no disco. We're not doing that 70s guy, Mike Awesome. We're not doing the fat chick thriller. We're doing the career killer, Mike Awesome, how it should have been. Awesome, dominating everything that's in his way. And then now, our main event, Booker T, Hulk Hogan. And Booker T gets the job done, gets the win over Hulk Hogan, and retains the World Heavyweight Championship. They have great chemistry. Fantastic. I'm happy Hogan put him over clean. He didn't complain because he was willing to put him over. And afterwards, Booker's too busy celebrating. Hogan, who's on the outside, grabs the World Championship, comes into the ring. We think he's going to hit Booker. And then Booker turns around. Hogan extends his hand, shakes it, and hands him the World Championship. Puts it around his waist, kind of like how he did to the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. And he raises Booker T's hand, passing the torch to the new generation in WCW. It's a 76. We're going to tell Booker good job. We're going to tell who else had a very good performance. No, we're going to tell Hogan good job just because he put Booker over with no complaints. And Kurt Hennig surprisingly put a 71, so I'm giving him some props. I mean, Hennig was always capable of pulling those numbers. I wasn't expecting it from him in 2000, especially with the mod, because the mod for some reason has everybody ranked super low. It was a good pay-per-view, a good uncensored pay-per-view. Hogan and Booker over-delivered. What else? The Storm, Young, Team Canada versus Second City Saints did better than I expected. I was expecting like 40. Kidman and Ray was good. Sabu and Vampiro was kind of lower than I was hoping, but it was a 16-minute match for those two. Daniels and Wright over-delivered. Kanyon and Sting over-delivered. So I'm happy. It was a good pay-per-view. And now we have to do some roster cutting. I'm going to do that in between episodes. And I'm not going to show you everybody I'm cutting. You're just going to have to you're just going to have to see that some guys are gone. If I do end up saying it, I'll show it quickly next episode, but some guys have got to go. So I'll see you guys in the next one. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like if you like this video, subscribe if you want more. We'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.